Inertia is one of the biggest things to come to Escape from Tarkov in patch 12.12. And now that we've all had some time with it, we have all definitely felt the brutal effects of inertia to the movement and to everything in the game. There's still a lot of questions on how it's going to affect things long term with high level strength and endurance and stuff like that. But what I wanted to do in this video is give my thoughts on how it affects specifically PvP and potentially give you some tips based on some things that I've had to learn the hard way. I stream Escape from Tarkov on Twitch. All my links will be down below. I'd love to have you stop by and say, hey, with all that stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right into the video. So like we said, these are just my first impressions on the inertia system and how it's affecting PvP and some tips. I would love to put out a guide once I'm much farther into strength and endurance leveling and how that is going to affect it long term. But even so, this isn't a very scientific thing, right? I can't tell you that you're going to get 7% less inertia when jumping at level 17 strength. Like, there might be those numbers on the back end, but this is really something that you have to feel. I got a lot of comments on my previous inertia video where I was breaking everything down about it doesn't seem that much, and then I played the game, and then I really felt it. So I'm going to have some B-roll up of just some PvP that I've encountered in these first few days of the wipe to kind of show what I did right, what I did wrong. But at the end of the day, you know, you're really going to have to feel a lot of this for yourself. But I've got a lot of thoughts based on my first impressions of these first few days. And the first thing to talk about is how really inertia is working together with a bunch of other systems to make combat much more brutal and much slower. And that is, you know, they adjusted the recoil. The automatic compensation for recoil is lower, which means effectively there's more recoil on your guns. You're feeling a lot more of that recoil, which is making shots harder to land. And it feels like they almost tuned up a little bit the stamina drain effect of getting shot. Not only are we, you know, newbies again with level 1 endurance and no stamina, but additionally, it seems really brutal to get shot by a scav who's maybe third partying you while you're PvPing, or somebody shooting you and you kind of not having any stamina left to reposition. So all of those things plus the inertia make PvP feel very different this wipe so far in these first few days. Now, I will say that it feels better the more you play. Me and just about everybody else, even the people who were expecting and excited about inertia, were really taken aback that first day of how intense it is, how boaty and floaty you feel, and just like peaking feels really weird. But even just over a few days, I've noticed a few things. I've noticed it less just because you're getting used to it. Also, my character now up to level 6 or 7 strength and endurance, I feel like I'm already starting to see a little bit of that negated. And I don't know if they've been tweaking it on the back end at all. Personally, I don't think that they should tweak it too much on the back end. I know a lot of people are calling it, saying it's a little overtuned. They need to tweak it down a little bit. What I'm worried about is if we get up to the, you know, level 30 strength endurance, you know what I mean, level 25, if we get to the high level places, even where most players end up, and we're negating almost the entire inertia mechanic with those things, then people might be asking for it to be tuned back up. So, you know, as much as it is rough to get used to, I feel like we should almost see how it plays out over the course of the wipe, making small changes as we go, as opposed to a really big change now because it is pretty aggressive. Now, all that being said, it has affected PvP completely. The number one thing, the big thing that we showed in my previous video, and the thing people are noticing a lot, is jiggle peeking or even just strafing around a corner trying to get information. This is me spamming AD as fast as I can. And then this is me doing... Yo, I didn't realize how much I do this, not just peeking around a corner to get information, but how much I just side strafe when I'm either like looting something or looking for loot or approaching a scav. You just don't want to be standing still. The fear is always that you're just going to get one tapped out of nowhere. And so even more than I thought, I've been noticing the effects of this side strafe. And it is really brutal. The tip for that is if you do want to peek a corner, if you do want to acquire some information around a corner, you can start that peek a little bit earlier, a little bit farther away from the corner so that less of your body is exposed when you kind of come to that complete halt and then move back. But especially in PvP, it is more important than ever to not re-peek corners. If you peek a corner, you see your enemy and they see you re-peeking again. If they're holding that angle, they're most likely going to shoot you because you're moving, which means shooting is even harder, and that movement is very slow. Now, that being said, one of the best tips I can give, especially right now, is hold angles. You can let your enemy do a lot of the work. If they're trying to be aggressive, if they're running around, you can let them do that movement because they're going to feel that inertia out of a jump, out of a sprint while they're peeking that corner. And if you're holding that angle, you're going to be ready to go and just go ahead and lay them out. Now, that doesn't mean that, you know, the quote unquote rat lifestyle of just sitting around and holding angles is the only way to go, aggressive play isn't over. A lot of people thought that the whole inertia thing was just engineered to remove aggressive players from the game, and that is not it at all. You can still be very aggressive. You're just going to have to adapt to the fact that inertia is making positioning even more important. Good positioning was always important in Escape from Tarkov, but a lot of times you do things that almost like gave up your good positioning because it was better to super wide swing somebody, to jump out. If you know somebody's coming, you want to get out in front of them first. And a lot of that just felt really weird. Well, now you can still be aggressive. You're just going to have to make sure that you have good positioning at all times. So aggressive play definitely isn't over. But what I like is that it doesn't feel like that's the only way to play now. If you really wanted to compete in mid to high level PvP in Escape from Tarkov, you had to be aggressive. You had to push. You had to expose yourself a lot. You had to do all these crazy things. And now it feels like it's still very viable, but it's not the only viable way. You can play slow, you can play tactical, you can rat it up if you want, but you can still play aggressive, you can still push down your enemy. And in all of those play styles, with all of the changes that have been coming to Escape from Tarkov, like we said, the recoil, the stamina, the inertia, all that stuff, the last thing I can recommend is really leaning on the tools the game provides you to be successful in whatever playstyle you have. Using suppression is probably now more than ever a really good idea. If you've got a buddy or a squad, just shooting towards the enemy while somebody can make a position or make a flank or something like that. Using grenades to push people around, to scare them away, and using cover and your map knowledge to maneuver around the terrain and get a better angle on your enemy. All of these things are even more important now. Before, you could, if you wanted to, and if you were proficient, you could just get away with shift Wing, being in front of your enemy first, getting shots on target first, and you would just win. Now it feels like if you want to win, you have to use more of your map and your terrain and your positioning and your knowledge of the game to be that successful. So that's kind of it. Those are my quick thoughts and first impressions of the inertia system. It's definitely been an adjustment for me, for sure. I've been playing like that level 56 Chad with elite strength and endurance, trying to push people, and I've been getting punished for it. So I've really been trying to force myself to adapt to this new system. It'll be really interesting to see how it plays out to the mid game, to the end game, but I'm really excited for it. And I know this was a very controversial change, so whether you love it or whether you hate it, try to continue to adapt to it, try new play styles, and then provide that feedback that you have to Battle State Games. So I hope that this helped. I hope that this kind of broke it down a little bit for you, maybe gave you some tips on how to be more successful in PvP in Escape from Tarkov. Thank you so much, as always, for taking the time to check out this video. If you liked the video, think about dropping a like, commenting down below, or subscribing to the channel for more content like this. I stream Escape from Tarkov on Twitch. All my links will be down below. I'd love to have you stop by and say hey. And we also have a Discord if you're looking for people to play Tarkov with. It's an awesome place to be. We have over 10,000 members. That link is down below as well. Thank you again for stopping by, and I will definitely see y'all on the next one.